Area busuafo ma mo nyina ha awia dia me ma obi biara special good afternoon na me mo akwaba edeba me manti show so ha ye neat 100.9 FM mejiri me yese obi biara awia yi ote me ne enka no wo ho eye papa bibia ededin me kan fa ma se koso a enya gidie e wo twedi aponyankropon emu na bibia be ye fine ate seni etie bia ekosoro kokokokokokokwa ebesane ene eyeda ya wada match bosumi de to so eduno and 24th March 2022 in the year of our Lord and the 83rd day of the year 2022. They say aka 282 days now say you aka 282 days na ye de afi 2022 about na wie ye and so when him say ne World Tuberculosis Day I ene World Tuberculosis Day na twen answer meka ho asem kakra e de a kiro na ade ato kotodwom na wo kwa na ja wo yi ne kakra na wo dwendwen ho na wo de wani to fom na wo hwe niema ene ade meba ho na tie onum se eto de bi ho no mo a ye hwe ye namfo binom ana ye busuafo binom anim se ahoyehia ye namu ahokire ye namu no wo mo ntwo mani emra mehwe ye esan se senka omo na wo sa tibia no mu besu e kire yen a anke betutu mrika ne de moa akwakomo mo edi sa amoa no eduru mpempenso bi ya ne ye pebi e de afra busua ne namfo ne adofo bi enchen enso beto ato ya de moa ne beba mesro se ba ne sa e ma bo haw e ma bo mfu e ma wra nho enwenwene esanse sa e na wo se e ba no hunu se de wodwene obi ho no enya sa na nipa no odwene wo ho se wo ye papa ri wo pem nyina firi wakoma mu ton ene wadwene mu nyina na ye sa papa no won expect say wo benya bibi afri mu na papa etesa no say wo ye na wo ye ni yi a ehun hira e wasafo rade ensam edi ebesre ese expectations be braya na ye hwe ni mu afri enipa bi enchen na nso be na wo mo antimi amfa saa eniema ye hwe ni mu no amre ye na disappointed ni ade no umi nyai saa ade no wo ye bibi a ye say wonya bibi emfri nipa no wonye hwe emfri nipa no wo ye e di aboa no wo ye sa we ya masa for rade wadi asiesa sa pepepe ena ye ka no enti wo ya papa no enhwese an me ye maame BIAMAH AKWAFO papa esan se me so me ho kire me na me kon ho moa obetimi aba beboa me dabi anka ye betumi kura anka nye omo wo bie no ena ese ehwe o mani yo papa omo ani bia wo hu se we a me ye no papa he entwa dabi emma o meboa me kwan bia so esa no na wafura akoma mutun ne wadwene mu nyina na waye wo ya na ade ama asafo awurade eno no onyankropon wa ono ohunu kukuam na wo hyira obi ntimi ennome no dan nyame no obehira e wo kukuam when you did to ekotorium kakra na me se enne eye World Tuberculosis Day tuberculosis ya friend e wo de betwi mu eye ensamawa ai me kan ye mpanyufo ne bi ate ase ensamawa na sansama we ya ye ka ho asemi se be kan wo a e kan wa hrawa ba bia wo ho me fa na wo mu no e hyehyehye wo mfe ho no mo saa no se wukum abo akokọ a wo hu se wudwa no a na yem no e ba na ekoko ho no mo saa no wo nsa ade bi hye ho no mo fufurufuru ti se eye fom ti se fom onipa wo saa ade bi na numu e na wo ho me fa it is tuberculosis ya ade na bi kan wo a e affect saa ade no broni fe na o lungs yes your friend no wahrawa ade azie na tuberculosis na eba so a obebo wa enya wabo bia e na ye tuberculosis na emum tie tuberculosis wa na said ye tie obebo wa ano oden ebedru baabi no obo wa bo se moja efremu eba afa wo kokata so wontimi na ho timfifre se ya wo ho aye hyehyehyehyehye oje wo ho a enye obo wa ma otumu se wonfe ne wonfia kasa eya wo ya papa enti se dru san pempenso no ahunu se wo ye nya tuberculosis menka so anya e wanya de na chese wakọ hospital ama doctor few ehunu se ya sa ya de no wanya bi na de ba ko e ma tuberculosis yare na eye hu ne se ebi kan a edro wo hopa a wututu mirika kwa ya sabia sesi amenyim se Ghana hakra no obi nya TB yare ni bi na wakọ hospital a ye treat ne free treatment free minimpa minim si asesa ne dia any I don't know but the mnim ne say obi a obenya ensamawa anase TB yare bia e wo Ghana ha na wokọ ayaresabia treatment eye free of charge eno enna ho enti say free of charge na wabọ wa bosumi atwam bosumi mienu aba woda so bọ we ya no ya na eye de na ate wono mo ewe esikyire ni akakaduro minia entra se nwi esikyire ni akakaduro for hospital enkotana sintie radio na mebisa doctor say doctor mabọ wa bosumi mienu ni ya wa na nkoda fa he kosi he me say duanamon ne kwaya sabia wate dika wo de to esikyire ni akakaduro na akakaduro boden dika wo de to esikyire ni akakaduro no wano ne fa ko hospital o insurance card ka ho ne fa ko hospital okwa TB the treatment free bonto free of charge na se wanko na etena wo ho cha ebetimi aku ato atwene na nhwemu adadi esa saa tuberculosis yare ewia se no ne yare a edi nipanya papa enti ebi kan wa mesrewa ma onanye nti awa yere sabia wunya duro pepepa ebetu ase na ayira afri nipadua no mo wanya duro na etena wo ho che ebeku ato atwene na saa world tuberculosis day you know ye the day esi ho no mo se ye di bodawuro ama omanfo ani abo ho so se yade bi wo ho no mo a ete saa ya saa yade yi se ba eduro ho na mom no se wo ya so branch se di ayi pharmacy atenantwie se ho e na akwa akoto waduro ehemfa wo numa wo wi akakaduro wo di bi wo yambi e de ye ni nsuo e de wofra na wo nom still e wane da so ho no mo a mesrew hospital na wo kontem a wo benya duro di account ama ho atimi atọ na World Health Organization kire say every year 2000 e ba nyina dawura hodo omo bo edifa TB ho eni ade a wo mo ye nkyekere ne omanfo eni omo eba omo ho so omo to anamo akwa resabia wo matimi agi akra opepe aduonum 9 54 million lives and o matimi asave a free 2000 year 2000 mo eba bepem sabre etimi srewa uyo bi ato wo bo wa kohe ade achi ade san na ekosoro na eye kese afobehu abo wa na moja na mu mesrew hospital essence sa ya ade no oni frɛ bibi a contagious disease ese ebetimi aka obi a woben wo ebetimi asan pa tade kata etimi san no da na tuberculosis e wa no so se obi ben wo na obogu no so a betimi anya bi enti papa maame sister ewura madam se ubo wa emebro so eche enkoda bomodin a se obekọ hospital na doctor etimi afiwo na wa check untasuo wa hwese TB muwa ni bi na ababetena nipadua no mu na se de ben na eyewo oya ne sa betimi aboa ne nyina yetimi enya hoden apomden papa ne de atena o my Ghana emo na me fa kwenye so ama akwa basonko e de aba me menti so production crew ayakrado Dr. Father Dixon na ono produce from afar Lanso ena Joe Damia Dumak Jeros Ajuma Frema Bankro ena Nanaya Safo Womonsu na ebo michidom ewo fiduem ha sei ema midi dwumade abremo Sabre wo join live ewo Facebook ena YouTube obetimi a like no wa share e de amaye kama Afenso so wo ba ya WhatsApp line ya activating the kama 0503721744 0503721744 wo de message ne wo comment ne fa ha no so ye beken kan kama e de amount Ebusiafo awie mo mia menemo edi dwumadie ye free sabre ko se no 9 ebebo medin e de MAAME BIAMAH AKWAFO beti afre me biamzi one woman gadama me soja BIAMAH brofode nyina afre me a meje so ka na me twa me hotel e bapa ye beko anawu eso
Microphone free se kwan na omode wonam so na won kasa ne 7 prejudice e bia wo ye jimifo enye jimi na wajimie jai wo mo life ma wo mo no mo mfa ma wo mo bra obi bia obebu kwase na so do be fa kwan bone so no se wotimi nya akokoduro ka wo sisi so se nipa ne ye na oye no wo bo homodi se wo mfi no na wo gya na manyame a wo ma nipa na nkasa wo ne tibua edi na ne ho ntone wate asefo sa asi so da
Surround yourself with the right people. Find your encouragers, not your discouragers. Find your uplifters, not the people that bring you down. Find your Aarons and your Ors who hold up your hand, not the ones who drag it down. Find the voices that lift you up and not the voices that drown you. Find the place of your strength and be smart enough to find the gaps of your life.
Don't give up. There is a God. He's still alive. Hold on to your faith. Hold on to that determination, that passion. Whatever made you start, remember and let it keep you going. Keep pushing. It doesn't matter. The hurt will go. One day you'll sit back and laugh at those painful days. Keep pushing.
And you see, canine ya wasisi dai. Osi canine ya oba. Eni pakase yanya noa kiabeye day. Odidi aso biso. Onomo amo bibi nom. Baby eni papre nano. Omo baby da.
Look at the price of gas now. It's $7.55 a gallon. Hey Putin. We're sending you a bill.
I put $15 in my car for gas.
Why?
That because we had been abused so much, we would not allow our health care systems to collapse. That the leaders were going to work to ensure that life expectancy improved, that they were going to ensure that maternal mortality was reduced, that they were going to ensure that infant mortality was eliminated, and fundamentally that the disease burden would be reduced if not eliminated. That is how clear the diagnosis was in 1963. They were also clear that ignorance was a contributing factor and that we had been so thoroughly under-educated or miseducated, as Carter G. Woodson had said a little earlier in 1933 of the American in his book, Miseducation of the Negro, which word you did not want to verbalize. And the most important thing was that we did appreciate that we had been miseducated, and so clear was the articulation of this. And if you go to many African schools and many African countries at that time, we built many universities. Those of you who come from Liberia or Sierra Leone will know that in those early days, the universities that existed at that time were universities such as Fura Bay in Freetown in Sierra Leone, which was a leading institution then and even now known as the Athens of Africa, because it was the residence of knowledge. That was Africa, identifying her problems. We also recognized that poverty was an issue, and we assumed that having regained independence, we would deploy our intellectual resources and our other resources to ensure that our men and women would not labor under economic desperation.
The rising global oil and grain prices are beginning to bite in Zimbabwe, especially at the pump. Since February, fuel prices have soared by as much as 18%. March saw 2 price increases inside a week. Petrol now costs $1.68 a litre.
I am delivering pharmaceutical products, so I won't make much profit and it will affect my business.
The only way that we have managed to keep things going is by buying fuel on the black market. That is how we have been able to stabilize the prices for our passengers. We charge a US dollar per trip.
Before the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Zimbabwe was already battling a double-digit inflation, and these price increases are likely to worsen the economic outlook.
Egypt is the world's largest importer of wheat. Nearly 70% of its wheat imports come from Russia. Bread prices have soared already as a result of the war, burdening millions of Egyptian families living from hand to mouth. But it's not just about food. Tourism, which is a lifeline to the Egyptian economy, is likely to be hit hard too. Around 40% of tourists who visit Egyptian sea resorts come from Russia and Ukraine. In 2015, this key industry was brought to its knees after a Russian plane was bombed over the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh, killing more than 200 Russian tourists on board. Following this tragic incident, Russia suspended flights to all Red Sea resorts for nearly 6 years. This ban was only lifted last August, so the war will deal another severe blow to this lively sector that has just started to recover and flourish.
Look at the price of gas now! It's $7.55 a gallon! Hey, Putin, we're sending you a bill!
I put $15 in my car for gas.
Avena moves munyansu Miss Africa crown ye mobo Africa. Yes, ye adwene si yanka se be yusu ya adwene edia ye bibi edia ma ye ho. Da bia be depend on abrofo na me se ye betu to bode num. Obi anko obi man so. Afi ye hwekwan ye befa so a ye bebu o man. Edie be nko ade bia toothpick ye kofa firi abroni kuromu. Sabe yi wasum kura ye kofa firi abroni kuromu. Edidie pan ye betimi ayama ye ho ebibi man. Edien ye ni man consumption. Enti niyama phone no ma soa de ba begu ye so ha. Da ben na Africa black ubetimi atena se adwene se me ankasa me de ba akoka mienu ho de minua aye e wo krom ha no se ye se nye ma mento na improvement mrem me to a ese de na oye no obenya sika ni bia ka ho wo chena wonye ne sa obe improve ni ye koyenim kakra sa na abrofo no ye ne wo mo de adu pempen so mo aduru a ye meyemu so a ye se ye kofa broni ade aba ye meyemu so ye kofa broni ade aba moma ye nwene ye ho o na se de wi ase keka ko no ebeduru ba bi no obi nko obi manhwo no obi campus wa kosa wo akopɛ bosia kora abo enti dwene kwan ye befa so a ye betimi aba ye ho bra mom ye no ye adwuma obo ade ehira so de hye onipa ensa enti se Bible ene ye de bu o manyi anase mpo no Kristosum ene dɔso wo manyi mu a edi enti ne ye mfa kua adwuma ensie ne so aban wonyi sika se ye ankase ye ayi efuo so o man yefuo nie nanum no man no ebedidi ada ne yenye bibi saa ne wasase yantam ukono ofuse kura de atese awre ho keke asase egu hanya asase ketwa yentimi nuamo ne atisika ne yakwa broche ne yakofa mo ne de aba na se na afi yakase ye krabanche aba mo abohu se nya no kura se ye krabanche na start na ye krade bre industries mo de ye adwuma no that start yentimi nua bi krom ha e ma ne nya yi yes ye what type of banche ya ye de wo ofuo ye de bi bo ampesie ne ho kro ne ba ene ye wo de ye ema industries no so so mu de bi ya alcohol mu de bi ye starch ne ade za banche kro no ya asase echiri za banche no age se no ye tante sika ekokokra e de ba bro yes planting for food and jobs bro ena abusue ye nua bi eno ye kokra e de ba nkoko nua ne ye kokra de ba de ne haye Ghana wa men kuroma Ghana ayo anopa mi ba ye matesi ase ayi so afo hwesikasam so finance minister ne oba be address Ghana na wo de measures bi agukwan mu a yede be mitigate na economy no yetimi amoa ne kakra na ye ho atimi adwe yen because they say fuel prices ye come here say akabibia fuel prices here ye too mu cash ntuade ye ntum mu enti den na bankura wutimi te won sa so sa yato petrol banku de faka wo de faka akura yato asentuade mu konkonte ye sha afiase foforo na konkonte 1 cedi enne konkonte ye 2 cedi konkonte ye 22 cedis adendi na saba nza ye to fuwa mu na anu yi anya bia yato ka asentuade mu ye ntini mu amoton banku ni konkonte ne dokona na sefo no mo ya no matutum kase ya tufu wa buntina aka bia na obi anso ya dwen bone so ye tirim ti ne ya bere adwen bone wo ye tirim papa adwen bone e wo ye tirim ya so na esi ye Kristofia di Kristos so ye nya ne ye ku ye ho ye mia ye ho ye nto ade mo obe hu anu ma we atum no we atum man mu ayede man ma ye nya ne ma man mu ayede ye nya ne ma man no e mu ayede ye ne sa ebe ye yie ya so na ne di Kristos ma kata ye ni Kristos ma kata ye ni ana ya de ankasa be bosonsom na nka wa ha no a wotum ane ye de agyew wotum ane ye de agyew watum mintum ananka kane Kristosum na na wo ho no na na ya safira mo penso no watum mintum na sase mu adwa na wo se hokfoin ko akodi wasama do ye yes asa na ye pe o Tani ye pe enne di hu be wura enne ye wo ye bibia no kore ne se he obeyi aka na ne ho ato no. Ya ne ama ye ho ye bre o. Yenya enne ya ma ye ho ye bre. Obi mmai so obebuni nua se gen ade a woto ama no so ye fake. Enya de pa enso obeton de ama no. No de ban na e ma ni mu ayeden. Ya tofu mu banku ya tum. Emmare ya tum. Konkonte banche yesi enya ye nkra bio yesi ya na etu okurum ha. Ananu ade kai kofa banche ba yi. Ta se ntu ade ya tum. Omo ayam bro nikanika yesi ya di electricity na ayam nikanika. You can am see the petrol ni ade yam. Yesi ya di efense electricity. Eni ade ye nikanika yi. Tututututu ko no no akwa yam. Onkonte de ko nikanika no akwa yam. Ya to electricity mu. Electricity ya tum. Mo demre kan matum. Mo jisika no so kura mo ntua so tight. Enti aniema ne boa ya di nti na ise nkrofo afa ho na aniema boa de na o matutum anya hwe. Ya sabe wiase wa ho. Sa wofum sika bebra wunya sika da. Sa wofum sika bebra. O de o pastor di hwe. O de o pastor di. Ade we. Wofum sika pi de bia no ani di sika ti woni sika. Afa at the end of the day no. Sika na wonya no ohun ni ade ben so na sika na sa. Yes. Hwehwima de e koso sa na tie. Enti say finance minister say awie yes 1 o'clock omo so omu nuam time so yes 1 o'clock en wo ba be kasa wa start afa no wa start 1:42 ade nso mo say 1 the 1:42 me ba yes ekokotie ne kakra so ho enti ekotie ne kakra ne ete ne nsem ne kakra bi ba ko mienu bi a ne ya dwoto no ma ba bie phone lines na atum amatiefo na mo so mo afre ye mo hwe ni mo say finance minister onka ho asem no na mo so mo de ho nsem aba wa address a ne apekwan bi e befa so a ye be address ya mama mpanyin atie variazie yes inflation they say inflation then I'm saying 15.6%. How do you feel it in your pocket? Do you feel it in your pocket? And a GDP and a growth rate and a fine see you. Do you feel it in your pocket? And you say a finance minister kasa ai they say one of the measures you go akwan mu a ye de ebebo men ho bra na say de bia keka kone de atom nsrepe ai nti wa mo bet anhwe kwan befa so a wan kasa be your production e produce ni ma feed wo ho ene wo manfo a ene danto asene ma ai enti yanko
6% integrity local. Proving gross international reserves to reach 8.6 billion, about 4 months of import cover by 2020. Introducing the most ambitious social welfare policy ever seen in our country, the SHS program. Constructing and rehabilitating more roads, cumulative of about 6,250 kilometers, completing 6 of 11 interchanges and flyovers, more than any other government in our history. Employ more new teachers, nurses, doctors, agri extension officers, and young graduates than any government. Saving the entire financial sector from inherited, neglected crisis that has cost government $5 billion so far. Instigating more value for money audits on public procurements than any government in our history, and investing more resources in the police, and anti-corruption institutions than ever before. It is this proven record of fixing what is broken that gave the MPP government confidence to tackle head-on devastation unleashed by COVID-19. And it is the same can-do and will-do attitude that gives us hope that we will overcome current crisis. We are not a people, as well as threatening global peace. The war in Ukraine has had far-reaching impact. We do not know how long the conflict will last. It is clear that it has already forced many countries, Europe and beyond, to adjust their economic plans for 2022 and Africa likely to be amongst the worst hit outside of it. UNTAC's rapid assessment of the war's impact on trade and development shows a rapidly worsening outlook for the world economy, the situation especially alarming for African. The Russia-Ukraine war has also compounded the global supply chain and trade disruptions brought about by COVID-19 pandemic, as well as adversely impacted dreaded 3 Fs: food security, fuel price escalation, financing. That's impacting living conditions, capacity, real global recovery efforts. Global inflation trending upwards has led to central banks raising interest rates globally, resulting in tight financing conditions and reversal of capital inflow, especially emerging markets. For example, U.S. Federal Reserve Bank announced a hike in interest rates by 0.25 percentage points on 6 March, has signaled more of such to follow. Similarly, the Bank of England has raised its policy rate another 25 points, 0.75% on 17th. We've seen the highest inflation in US, UK, Germany, and advanced countries in 1974. US's inflation increased by 6.5 percentage points from 1.4% January 22 to 7.9% in February 2020. Similarly, inflation in Germany increased by 4.1 percentage points from 1% in January 2022 to 5.1% in February. Since the COVID-19 pandemic struck, more than 60% of African sovereigns have suffered downgrades across the region. Ghana witnessed a downgrade from Fitch 21st January 2022 to B- negative outlook, while Moody's downgraded Ghana to AA1, a stable outlook on 4 February 2022, even though S&P affirmed Ghana's rating minus with a stable outlook on 7 February 20. These downgrades have had implications for market access, exchange rate depreciation, capital flight, and increased cost of finance. Ladies and gentlemen, on the domestic front, challenges include the impasse in Parliament, adversely affecting government business, such as the passage of some revenue bills, including the levy bill. This is creating uncertainty. Measures to address economic difficulties we are facing due mainly recent global and domestic events. These difficulties have manifested in rising fuel prices, rising inflation, and cost of living refuge in safer assets. Stocking up on the dollar, considered the safest currency. CD has not been spared. Relatively, our local currency appreciated by 15.6% against the US dollar, 13.4% and 30% respectively against the pound sterling and 23rd March 2020. This understandably is causing a lot of anxiety among our traders and consumers alike. However, we also need to recognize that in spite of it all, has held under these extreme challenges better than it did between 2014 because the fundamentals are much stronger. Bank of Ghana has announced measures to address the exchange rate situation, leave the propriety of the measures they outlined on Monday. Rising international price of crude oil, the exchange rate depreciation affecting the ex-pump prices of fuel domestically as it feeds into high transportation fares and hence inflation. For example, average ex-pump price of diesel for 3 OMCs, Gold, Total, and Vivo increased by 59.7% from 6.7 cedis per liter 1st January 2022, 10.7 cedis per liter at the 21st of March 2020. Ghana is not alone here. From Angola and Malawi through Nigeria and Rwanda to Senegal down to Zimbabwe, fuel prices soaring. Some neighboring countries are not only dealing with rising petrol prices, but also scarcity products, long queue filling. It remains the case, however, that one of the biggest drivers of price increase services in Ghana is fuel price hike. Inflation has surged 15.7% at the end of February 2022. Food inflation increased from 12.8% in December 2021, 17.4% in February 2022, while non-food inflation rose from 12.5% 14.5% over the same. Ladies and gentlemen, provisional data on the stock of debt as at the end of December 2021 show that the stock of public debt in 351.8 billion. $1.2 at the end 2020 for pandemic. Total debt stocktation of the budget. Urgent and decisive actions are therefore required to address the challenges and ensure the achievements of the objectives and targets of the 2022 budget, including unleashing the entrepreneurial verve of the Ghanaian. Whilst we are in the process of revising the 2022 fiscal framework, reflect current developments with a view to go to Parliament. Approval for the revisions during the mid-year review in July. Government will pursue additional measures to ensure the achievement of the fiscal deficit target of 7.4% of GDP. Ladies and gentlemen, government had already started the new year spending cuts as Parliament failed to approve key revenue streams at the appropriate time. In January 2022, government announced and immediately began implementing 20% expenditure cut, part of fiscal stabilization and debt sustainability measures. This has been done through the quarterly expenditure ceiling allotment to MDAs, quarter one allotment currently in implementation, whilst quarter two allotment will be issued shortly. Ministry has strengthened its expenditure monitoring systems and processes to ensure effective implementation of these. In addition, government has decided to take the following measures to ensure the achievement of the fiscal deficit target of 7.4% of GDP 20. So expenditure cutting measures. Discretionary spending is further cut by an additional 10%. Ministry of Finance is currently meeting with MDAs to do their spending plans for the rest of the 3 quarters to achieve expenditure cuts. 2, these times call for very efficient use of energy resources. In line with this, there will be a 50% cut in fuel coupon allocations for all political appointees, heads of government institutions, including SOE, effective 1st February 2022. Immediate effect, government has imposed a complete moratorium on the purchase of imported vehicles for the rest of the year, affect all orders, especially for drives, to ensure the overall effect is total vehicle purchases by the public sector, at least 50% for the period. Again, with immediate effect, government has imposed a moratorium on all foreign travels, the pre-approved critical travels. 5, government will conclude on ongoing measures to eliminate ghost workers from the government payroll by end December 2022. Government will conclude the renegotiations of the energy sector IPP capacity charges by end of quarter 3 2022, further reduce excess capacity payments by 20%, generate a saving 1.5 billion Ghana cedis. We impose a moratorium on establishment of new public sector institutions by end of April 2022. Prioritize ongoing public projects over new projects. This is to enhance the efficient use of limited public funds over the period by finishing ongoing or stalled but approved. Use expenditure on all meetings and conferences by 50% effective. Pursue a comprehensive reprofiling strategies to reduce the interest expense burden on the fiscal. Liaise with organized labor, employers association, implement with immediate effect the measures captured in the Core Declaration 2020 National Labor Conference, including reforms towards addressing salary inequities, inequalities, example Article 71 of its weak link between Let me say this. President Akufo-Addo has absolutely no intention to roll back on any major policy like the free SHS. The education to serve more and better. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition, finally, government approved the ministers and the heads of SOE contribute to cut 30% of their salaries from April to December 2022. I'd like to thank the Council of State in their leadership, complementing government policy. All of these measures, ladies and gentlemen, are aimed at ensuring that we achieve the 7.4 deficit target set in the budget. Fuel price mitigation measures. Ladies and gentlemen, the rising prices of fuel at the pumps influenced largely by the rising international market and the exchange rate depreciation. Though the rise in crude oil prices should have been to our benefit, basis Ghana's import of petroleum products amounts to 5.2 times the value of proceeds from its crude. In 2021, for example, we exported $3.947 billion of crude, of which Ghana's portion was 500. However, exported $2.719 billion of the purported windfall gain in foreign exchange. Quite. January to date, average export price of diesel petrol by 57% and 45%, respectively. Unlike in other countries where the hike in crude oil prices and exchange rate volatility are leading to products, government is implementing measures to guarantee constant supply of petroleum. Mitigate the impact of the rising price of petroleum products at the pump. Next 3 months, government has decided to reduce margins, petroleum price build-up by a total of 50 pesos per liter, with effect from 1st April. Bills are as follows: cost margin reduced by 2 pesos per liter, unified petroleum pricing fund margin reduced by 9 pesos per liter, fuel marking margin by 1, primary distribution margin by 3. Ladies and gentlemen, these reductions in margins are expected to reduce prices of petrol 1.6% by 1.4%. We anticipate that the measures taken to strengthen the
Needs FM.
And what do war? Although will be beer obey BM. Shani Jenny Afefedia Nina Fili wo HD Plus so. Yes, what do freni. Nanso entesa wo HD Plus so. What do busumi wemo. Ye chere what do srunkwanka sa. Wodi weni be hunu se echegu fili. Wo crystal clear pictures mu. Eni da hokai. HD Plus ana. What do fiankasa. Emanya world class TV viewing experience in Sao. Commodity TV dealer and electroland shop BM. Na beka HD Plus ebusiano hu Sia Shiawodo wa HD Plus so HD Plus the Fili experience.
Needs FM.
So yeah, chere wo sa would commodity shop Sia Shiawood.
Ladies and gentlemen, to say COVID-19 pandemic, good to acknowledge that Ghana has handled it excellently. Have emerged deadliest economically damaging phase. The measures have outlined our economic recovery program are executed as planned. Ghanaian economy should return to pre-pandemic levels across by the end of the year. On the other major event driving the global economy, we recognize all these 4 weeks into a terrible war, quite clear. Both the occupation of Ukraine, range of sanctions imposed on Russia will have profound effects both in the short and long term for global markets. The longer the conflict goes on, greater there is disruption in the global economy. We shall continue to monitor the situation very closely and make further adjustments if and when. We have no control of the trajectory of the conflict. It only reminds us how necessary it is for Ghanaians to assert greater control over our own destiny. That we can do and the economy will grow even bigger this year. The challenge now is to marshal this economic growth before us in the right direction, sure that it benefits Ghanaians across. Ladies and gentlemen, we are confident that these measures will address the immediate and short-term challenges confronting our nation. Government remains resolute, committed to entrenching the structural transformation of our economy in the long run. To this end, we are aggressively pursuing key interventions such as 1D, 1F, Ghana Cares, the Youth Start programs to improve our ability to locally produce more goods and optimize the opportunity of CFT officer. Important that as a country, use our dependence, imports, increase local production. Public institutions are reminded of government's policy by locally produced goods. Critical that Ghanaians reconsider their preference and consume more locally produced, support the economy, and guarantee decent jobs for our people. Ladies and gentlemen, your government, the AKWAFO administration, determined to turn things around, has the skills, discipline, and compassion. But to do so, must not allow our fortunes misdirected, speculators, those who only thrive when we allow avoidable uncertainties elsewhere. Pray be within the walls, Parliament, variety hours back to Parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, these measures outlined today significantly improve the macro-fiscal situation towards a restoration of confidence, safeguard the achievement of the 2022 budget deficit target of 7.4% of GDP. These measures have been carefully designed to ensure confidence and safeguard the achievement of the 2022 budget deficit target of 7.4% of the GDP. These measures have been carefully designed to ensure that growth and spending on social protection are, however, not compromised. Ladies and gentlemen, these are truly challenging times globally. No country has been spared. Government therefore call on all Ghanaians to stand together. Together, we shall surely overcome. Ladies and gentlemen, the people of Ghana, we can do it together. This is not the first time an MPP government working together with the people of Ghana has succeeded in overcoming an economic challenge of this nature. We have demonstrated time and time again our ability to overcome with you. First, in 2001, the MPP government, led by former President AKWAFO, together with the people of Ghana, brought the country out of severe. Second, in 2017, the MPP government, led by President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, together with the people of Ghana, brought the country out of the economic doldrums in which we were at the end of 2016. Third time still, under President Akufo-Addo, working together, the people of Ghana will not be an exception. Ladies and gentlemen, I've had the privilege of engaging in a number of town hall meetings from Koforidua to Takoradi, Tamale to Wa and Ho, and the resolve of our people to burden share for a better life for all of us is palpable. In particular, they want everyone to access, they want government to be accessible, they want Parliament to get on with its work, they want employment for our youth, they want agriculture and industry to thrive, they want government to cut its coat, they want us to tackle our debt problem and raise more revenue and to prosecute offenders. Ladies and gentlemen, our media review the successes of what we have done. This would ensure structural reforms are crystallized, reduce fiscal dominance during this period, ensure fiscal and monetary policy coherence. Let me end by a quotation from Jeremiah. Let us seek, all of us, the peace and prosperity of our nation. Let's pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, prosper. Together, confront the macroeconomic challenges head on, stabilize the economy, and set it on the path of economic transformation for all. So yes, bring in additional $1 to $2 billion to stabilize the slide currency. We have enumerated a number of issues to ensure expenditure cuts, and we have put in place strategies to ensure that we have the supply of fuel that is required and maintain, stabilize increases. But let us also remember that this is a global phenomenon in which we are part of and overcome. God bless our whole land. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. And
the best station in the capital, Neat FM. The best station in the capital, Neat FM.
I start my day with a glass of this way tea. That's why I listen to Mid FM 100.9.
Yeah, was your for this 100.9 FM and I was so egua uti no me minty and I yade ebremono. I was ye be a telephone lines and atomo a 0302243540 0302243540 0302257902. Right now, the Ben and I will hear anymore. A finance minister one can once and warrior so the court to come. Yeremia and will quote to ye and what day eja yen quine. It was also for dream, but hello. Yes, or day. Good afternoon, Bajo one Messiani.
Yes, and when do you want F?
It's your 1D1F.
I'm a what bomb more than because some mouse that's your can. What bomb more papa, famine Gumra Ghana. Ghana. Mamma Gada. That's so. Yes, Ghana. Near there, no balance soon. And you'll be answering who is. So from command time. Who's on time? I see from time. The man on time. To phone time. Let them burn our banner better in Hemaso. Another woman. What say, to fly. Now, my son's all mama dear say. Not true now, so better. So I wanted to say there. Am I no more than I am tono? And yet, ma. Then yes, you the whole do. Then yes, you the whole way. And the same person, you are Jam Quankai. I am where we are. The idea, no, I don't do. So let's have fun to call our court to ask you carefully. So this is about my anti moment where we are. Nothing for food and dog. Now, Yajma. Now, Stone Vianney. Now, all you now. Yohanu. Then you find her. Now, you talk. Now, that's it. And yes, sir.
Meda say what the abakono bin somra. Hello. Hello. Oh. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Pacho ejanimo ya mwakwa ba yeko. Yenko madas. Ajan wo kasa wi o awie.
Me ti to mu ti die. Wo mo de da die mu a, e kura mani. Because Ghana for ye, e ka ta tu. And the to mu tuni e ti kan ye mba nya ri. E wo tu tu, e le ba ko ti ya. E ka so mo ti ti den za ko famra. Ada ba na mo ti ti ko ko ba. To mu ti o mo to mu ti ada mo ti na mo mu to ti ka le. Ye nya je so mo ti ti anu mo ti ga za ko famra ti. Na ko ba le ma.
Meda Sippy. Hello. Good afternoon, Pacho Dini Baby Afrifi. Hey, you are quarter rasta. Me feel you, do you know what? Yanko.
Finance Minister Bakasa, for you, no Quakasa or no Akasa Warazai. But who said, Wable Papa? Wable was your man, Penny Casolo. The names of the say, Okasa, you know, Quabacasa Warazai. Ah, many papa.
Yo, Mate. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. I'm your drum. That, yeah. Machine no, dum no. E ma me feedback wa ha.
Okay.
E ka samete.
Pacho, say after finance minister Yurakan Rata, Ocean some of Bakaya, media, the meaning a program can step a ginaso, a economy now at the prop and some. And I said your dollar rate in a cost room, and a full prices now, and you must or Mampenny and in a pamphlet. And one more court say a far drink and canyon, none can make any mutanka, finance minister Baban or Bacase. Oh, the year Duma, I'm at say a fool, a tune or my moon. The making me, I Duma or Duma. I'll find no, I'm a toy, Dumama. But through no Etiaba from Amat idea, and you're not Urakan for that. I do not know, and sit.
Yo,
I'm in Shampama.
Yo, that's Alan, that's a pa. Now, said to me, the idea back when I said, yeah, I who me say, dear Cassette, Emra may ye Juma. Who are now yet to know you fang no, a crude no, I him yenya, ye diacoto, aquaponane. And any yanka, it won't question the actually, yen to you be an any and we see a common on Yakokra or Yanakokra. Because ye to be in a boarding, Yakokra so any boarding, into Yakwana see by. Hello. Good afternoon, Pacho Dini baby Afrif.
Me pato ya fa na ya me kese fi na kuma. Aso se BIAMAH o tanti bi. Dem kakra me ka de se na fu eno if se ani bolu kwa na ekoso. Me no ka se me driver me su taxi. Se me no ka se me to fu 1.5 1.7. But minim the finance minister kasa no ya memeti sa dia o se but ye 3% a fee 1 liter so ana yes sir. Hello,
It's your word o.
me but no see where ye 3% a fee 1 liter so ana say
Dear me who and so say if you were what is 1.6% and this is also 1.6%, dear just say yanim the phone about calculate am ye who do I at your film. When the am cancer nice a big and 15 pesos. Huh? 50 pesos. Later be out 15 pesos a few. Okay, I see. What do you quantity? You better calculate your money near the ABB figures now because me wo gurus no ha. On better calculate BB near the figures na abremo. Hello. Hello, good afternoon. Yami adum ba chonso e.
Yami adum.
It's you. We didn't baby afraid.
Yo, actually, agona inku.
Hey, watch me mo akwa ba.
Yeah, na.
Hey, it's you.
Ube juma papa ya tawati. Ba futu ya o chasi ya odema. Ah, we the message say original. Ah, Sarah. Anona. Dr. Mamu. Ah, esre idin kaka kun so sha so ke se Ghana fu ya su biya. Amana mehu se na be say musisi papa. Ifa kasawo. Ah, sure how ye ni nemu ya da no me hwe new na wo hwe amanone kura wan abofo wodi wo ho kura no ma. Da wo bre no nya de da fom. Nke se obi bra oso. Emom eye wo hwe nyoma na aba na eye hawa besis amansen na ye. Ba amanie ya Africa se bi ehu bi. Ma ye mpe ye nkomi nyoma. Ma ye ni Ghana hana na do basis ediani be fom pama na ne price no. So won to na din central of yela. Won wa kofa ni na okuru no abla ne bro de wa ton ne banchi wa ton ne kit baby. Wonye na eyi AKWAFO onyoma na enkoso na de. Enne se wala smutu nyoma ni mukaka AKWAFO onyoma na enkoso kaka Ghana funa so kase se nyoma eduane ne gwa yedi. Ana ka kire o. Ah, Ghana fo ye kasa dodo. Ya ba ni se NDC pa no what is here. Wontum nya wo hwehwe. Na do abo no modern papa. Ye bom pass nyame na dom nyoma ni nkofom kakra. Na enfeme se ne wiase ne kona. Enya no se enkan na ye kan no. Na mobile phone you change data. Nda ye nyoma bi akoso. Asa ne ekono esi yan support na nyoma bi wo yen kuma. Fine, me da se bi.
Enso me da sepa ochi aguna nkum eno no hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Udini baby afrefi yenko na namu akoma chew yenko.
Ewe nyame asunbi enka. Mambia ma ofi antia mama obi abomu bia ma betia. Omo bi chen omo bi antia dia.
Afra ne afa mani so say ise mabo hwirehwire yo. Ihu baby amemfa mfa enti afra mo fa ncheme.
Ani moni now.
Mate.
Mambia ma ye ma nanga me se me say. Para sin da beka say ebia afuwe na economy na aden den as gas ya no ye twam. MP bia ye MP bia so akati aso na ka mbete me say e bia ba na beka say aso e bia every week bia no o see new state farm e ho ne ye do emo ani abroad people ye di fidi ye man Ghana so eko amana ne man ti eno ye best say ye mpem fonze omonko no mo sa mele because business e good ya na bo mo ka e te gani ye do mo excursion one ina for the almost I will say a ban on the man in your six farms. A mufu and I say a never be the same man. If you can cover on it, it's a kind of other sort of man. I think that you won't say that. Yantam, yes, I crack a motion bomb. Every year, a more you crack and it's got action our man than a more. The two say you're very ready or my ways are more. Oh, because your own task. And you have any focus in the room. If you very six farms.
Medase pa. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Udini baby afrefi yanko.
Me did of a K, me casafi in your press station cycle. BIAMAH.
Okay, time go. Make car too.
Okay, I got to me, mommy. Me pacho. Mr. Media can make an semester. Ghana, yes, because I don't know what you can. What up, Marco Germany? Miss Wolframotike. Yan for them said, okay, aha, I want the year pound, I want to the year. What's 1 week in our shops? We want to. But a people person, we propaganda found why best level. That the other we are Ghana says, it's a Ghana phone, ya yet, will be a per Juma about time. Will be a per Juma about time. Cat will be money bank when you crack Roberta's uncle. Then the proper technical squad, get to you, be a crashing and that's only moment. What does it? And never be a motion see I'm a year to see opposite India for you and net pack your power more change crop. Now, my idea bagana. Or more turning us all the cities in that home. If you are this kind of India, this is $100. And the dollars and I send another sort of baby shame. We are dying. Only the cinemas are chilling in us until within 2-3 months. How much of selling in our call? Enough Sana Casana was a Ghana, I am here in the call. The factories in a bunny being more near my address. The Ghana for Yasa, it's an dinner now was a tribute with him there, and no because could be just a year more condition. You feel, you lady a boy, the money to look on yes, yes, a bag, Jumadia, and your money was Jumaya.
Medasipi, hello. Good afternoon, Bajodini baby Afrefi. Yes. Yo, mistake. The radiasis were with them. Young boy.
It's a for ya. And one thing so now me expect to say finance minister can say or better say they will be accountable. Or you don't always continue to ask for more. Why you are not ready to account for the good people of Ghana? So the mark will say boni periphery or a year juma. I just can't now would you just say train and not to say on the rentals of friends then boarding. Some full play about just say what's your other heads of state, which I believe says some call is Maho Manonia almost full play, why they don't have presidential debt. And so they come to prepare for say, and they are more useful than a Fosicano, and your one quite ye. What do you think maybe so? Now the presidential debt in the year or did I be? Therefore, prayer boarding make very well. And I bet that because standard one I see the COVID-19 was a blessing to Ghanaians and a kid. Was it cut by a pack? Kano, and so much could be uncracker a bottom and after the Ghana for a whole homo. And I hope and pray that the one can inquire a rhetoric and left lip service and because I call Camia Boy and say on better to a property. That may be an affair quite anymore. Ghana will be a better place.
That's pa. I was here for honey at the course in the more ACA. Then when you're what says finance minister or Baba Cassa. I was say a fool a petrol water so a 15 pesos. 15 pesos no say a 15 pesos per liter. And a gallon be answer 4.5 liters. Now they are time semester Mama teacher for 1 times. I'm on plus. I'm on for feedback. Emre me wa say. Me mama me gurus no no. Na che say gallon bia ube save 67 pesos. Hey. There no one Ghana. 67 pesos. And I'm say you be na peso nkure gusu no. And then peso na is 67. See. Enti gallon bia ubetimi a save 67 pesos. It was so. This is the anum Babjo Gurus Munga created this 1.4 no 1.4 you see around the same we 1.6 and I wear 1 point almost the same. Right. It is a ebia petrol 67 pesos per gallon. And fancy bia this is 66 pesos. Na 65 pesos. When ya dia ya yibia as ebia 8 pesos. Iti ene da ho no. Ase ase. Eya dwumadie no eguso a ekoso na ma confused. Ye raka no fria ta ka so ba be kasa wakasa. Betie ye mpanyimfo enso ne omo ekafa ho. They say pay cut and waka ho asem ese ifrima mpanyi aso ye ne na so afo ne ade no omo no 30%. Was it ministers and SOEs no? So eno ye 30%. Yes ampanyi nya na adwene se free senior high school ba betwam. Aban policy bi o de ba bi onya na adwene so betwam. Da so gina ba bi. Emomo no expenditure I ka ye bono meeting me baby and ha me kakra me kire madwen wa we de me amadwene o say bia obi ya CEO no na ojibe 95,000 enya 95,000 na ha me but o tu kwan ya obeji per diem the hotel bills ye be kwa kotua ama no na didie eka esan ka ho eno da nchen ya wo mo ko board meeting ni ade ani nyina obesan agala wa obeji aka 95,000 no eho meanwhile ordinary Ghanaian no no ye adwuma bosome ye tua ne ka 500 no ne dai ka of 500 na oyare ya 500 no beti afrim na taade ne ma esuku fees ni nyina obeti afri 500 no e aden na sa ayi no ye nyin free ho ati ase ye kate dia ne ye kate bibia because they say ya wa ho kire mu enti ye de bet boy ye mu anu obi ye de bet boy ne yembi enti wo ye CS wo wudi wa katua fenchem wo de 95 ne je ye enti so de fa but o allowances ne sa pediem ne sa o tu kwan akwama no ne akwa enti na mani je ho se o mo yare o be kwa brochi akwa kwhwe o mo yare because ye de na katua no an wo de san ho yare a anko be think twice ye man no contract say or establish hospital a obesi no asini ye because o yare ye ho ne ye de acho yate ase sa ye constitution no e wo se etimi system because constitution ye hwem ne ade bu o mayi ene ye se wo ye see you a says sika allowances ye ante de ne de api wo so aka ho den ye ku me ye yankase ye suban ne ye de ku me aba eno dan chan so ade ebiempo NDC MPs no say COVID-19 testing na ye Okotoka International Airport no omuntwam taban ye anyi amfiri ho no mo a ene a demonstration na so obey test no free bonto to bia ba ni test ni free ye nyi teku ye ne semboa ye nyi kapre because at the end of the day no company na ya contracting na obey ya de na man obesa ebu yagu sika bebira obenya no no amaye mu 1% ye o man be ni imi ya hare bia fayefo all right nyame adome ne nsema hodo aye ba besi ne koso no enne so eye MAAME producer 1 numero 1 odame You would have fee and never that sort of a jar or war no. And then I would that you would have said and Baba baby. Men are me kind no. Adias ye. Aye. Enti happy birthday Kasiapa and Koma Ora John or Damiado. Oh, Madame or so do. Or see may you live to see your great grandchildren. Aye. We oba bema jo odame ado ene abana ado ojo ene abana omisi omo we show a glorious happy birthday rade ma kwatente ahode kom ai kwande hia na wunya nkwa no na ahode ne nka ho ya na afono atenten ahode ewom ajapa na yesre edema nti ora John odame ado ai teacher ado ha yama glorious happy birthday. And we nyame ya dom mpanyufo abeka mensa ya Eric Yao Asanita no LPG national organizer wa Lawrence kwesientwi Abiola no NPP national communications team member and Emmanuel Adote Alote NDC communications team member. Last week Adote absent, which the mnienti awama na what the letter aba to explain why he absented himself last week. Thank you for me, Mama Kwaba. I don't be so bakaza. Na be microphone eh. Abutu.
Oh, Dabi
say na say the way you because oba hanan energy ni wo mpa.
Oh, I him say on say the bia me transi. Me transi ana me.
Na bia say wa gogo.
Dabi me ngogo ye. Oba ma tano ni Adote abefa yi go nya hware pan. But my own tears say the bia ba.
Action speaks louder than words. The way I know what me mama Kwaba kra say one.
So what you say the bia ba me transi. Me kwan na soja tie. No any name. Soja ni so ahwe no papa.
Oh that me dey me ho dwopa. Okay, me jide say bibia boko.
Who adum bibia boko.
Eradia say. Is that no? Mama nso say enfro so. A quick one. Finance minister Odinsen bebre atutu da say so de amine MMD is no so ba be shia expenditure cut no. Na almost so more expense ye wo assembly ho no. No kwan yom be fa so a no mom already no akasa kra a common fund no say answer na ko internally generated funds no kaka you know I don't know how they are going to go about it you know that a fuel coupon say they ema ministers na say for ye cut 3% and no change so no imported vehicles ne ho ne ba ye cut so percent foreign travels na say for ye de tabno ne ade ato so na me they ha me ye 50% fuel coupon na ye cut no how many be who say empire cut 50% in the free so because we answer that crave be there but anyway that no
you and I went unnecessary you know, I was expecting to when he has a Bibishian. Echo to their chapter. When they sowed the wind, they will reap. When they sowed field of grain, that doesn't ripen, never produce any bread. And even if it did, foreigners would eat, you know, Israel come like any other, and it's as useless. What you want to say? We are in front. So, what question for? See him. Would be from? Say a bit one drink. No proper no one find near the papa. Sort of grain that doesn't ripen. Just a me fancy. The power honor say I think one drink the product I'm for one position. As soon as the adrenaline so produce. One cassa who about to me, the who were producing oil resources. Israel, Anna, that is some, I just say, I say, are useless? Yep, Assad is said, who are Abu. Now, where Piccadilly statement. Now, me feel say old tape been an
You grab Bisame, we send a message by her or him po any kind or say, Mammy BIAMAH, please. Is it old?
Yes, because look, I'm being very honest. Let me can say old tape until so mention Ukraine, Russia. What am I doing? Hey, now, sa blame game now, more yes, I'm unjay. Who speech man can walk by himself, humble enough. No? Blame game now, what they buy. You are talking about 2060, the mobile 2 years. You are not talking about the mobile year over the past 5 years. My could do baby. You are not talking about it. You are blaming and blaming, also throwing dust. And I say, oh, 2 foot to Ghana. My yard, the Mugu so yard. Hey, their callers, I'll be on them. Hey, and yet, will be time move. There be a mechanic. Serial callers, net on money communicators. On my young crofwa, a band be as a party be a beba bemwa. Now, what the bay we are. Now, say, I find Uncle so we hear more most one yet. But the same these serial callers, the fray edidiat or Hacho, Nene Enviro, Wisconsin area. That's a say, Yenin, Chinese. One recruit 2012, IEA a debate. Yura, presidency, not the ben make it was a sal gota ne pavement mono. Bema Bruno was the country. That no more when you know what the foreigners. So the money is when I no crop on and get to a mono. I am obi tested by I walk cast. I didn't know. And I was saying the crude one say I
on.
Yes, yeah, gateway Africa. You markets a beer, bet me up nearby. Yeah, farm crying 2 beer, bet me out. It all is knowing very well, so say, I almost know a benya oil. And I did yes, you I did the bet me a dream, but a brony by ye say. A baby bar by more person one casa in Crawford and a rented tanks, no. And you also castle for the bed. I farms from 1 year without our rented all those things. A weird that more honor. I didn't know what you may find it or memoir. Yeah, the nya oil, best and fear doing. Again, a preventing prospect. Even though a percentage in the oil a 2 mega, as a developed country, most refining at least 50% today. Na momo kakana woman no de mefanko. Nti sank here refining 50% crop or they prefer kombeja to ana pro. Na omon ofo omo abem okra ya no. Ending one factor ya do. Now again, all the speeches now are the various points. For citing example, which the communicators have also about UK, US, that you are actually or more far, we could tested by say, oh yeah, ne boy more, oh yeah, the year need. Of course, yeah, interdependent in the global world. But yeah, to 2 years, no more year. My breast will be this up. Centuries. There were bonsa type factory. I didn't end juma. And yes, a factory na say you. There were boss of glass. I didn't end juma. Now yen to me enya humfa. A beer new one of industrial area. Numa or ya to man sorry. Willowbrook, Dolly Junction here. A friend say Erasdom, also your meat marketing board. Ufi Erasdom now call Willowbrook. Ufi Willowbrook and now call I want to my feelings. Now, a training center be also program they see. I don't call him kakra or billion paying sa. Yeah, yeah. From manning some in 65 no more. Fabricated concrete. I just say that the coronavirus fire who's within 2 weeks or more to miss 1,500. Can ya be what?
Yeah, crowns here. There's some weeks BSc facility be and also near the COVID-19. Is it that is one?
I know you yes. Bank center.
I'm saying
it's pre-made. Into I don't know yeah, and you don't say watch it. Into ya jai agu okufu. This is baby I would buy. A bad baby or money economically. And chat and or share assess or point in court judges. And also baby ye can ye and also when we are no free wa. All these ministers they had 2 or triple deputy ministers. The country also says some of them ministries no and one all good years. More cash let's to the stand say you want to me concerned in next administration or better their position. AMBC we reckon work can so many things apart from saying say we have borrowed more than any other government. He made insinuations, casting insinuendo say abanda dano we are the first in the history of Ghana to have done this. To have one fan can say we are the first in the history of Ghana to have borrowed $11.25 billion on the market bond and were bonds. Or the year then he was borrowing because he felt say the largesse within that particular borrowing and as a percentage is only now the companies was good for him. Yeah, can you say Tobu as you went here? Borrow here because baby the borrowing word no again. What we are asking to be able to move this country from baby away baby bedri what is the position of NAPCO? NAPCO egu. What we are suggesting to you is go into serious agriculture, engage in state farming. NAPCO 6,000 people now would be bring me no. Egu no. What the earmark every 1,000 acre to 100 NAPCO personnel. That just put some shallots around for Afife. Now every 100 people to cultivate 1,000 acres. That 1,000 acres, no, almost share 30%. The moment you start down, NAPCO knowing very well, say, yeah, 30%, they're going to work their heart out. That is work and heart. In the Omoya Jumana yet a mono, they had to be a Bomudria which I yet which, you know, yeah, the big bois or mano amane, abba. That says so, which brand and no man, a pottery industry. Oma, I a friend saying, another Danko Kufado, party. A year capitalist oriented. Our mono, they are very interested in helping the private sector. And all the indigenous banks, any savings and loans, and can by this time or more wow in terms of capital. More than musical war, memutitu, or more branches war. Akosindo, what BAB war, America, and hard currency. Nina can offer a bunani guso. Adia ti modern gusano juma we nyina go mo wi and also you are a friend to the private sector go no ma nkrofo bebre eluzu wo modo as we speak nkrofo mo luzu wo modo you have not been able to employ the same quantum of number into the employment system. You have not been able to do that, and you think that the economy ebejira na so so the abemaye nyina no e wo bo ne tofa the best friends kwesi ko ojira kwantia because ade am omodi omo ayesisi ya no. Within the next 2-3 weeks, you will see, say, petrol prices will go back to the same thing. I can assure you, say, within the next 3 weeks, we are going to still buy petrol 1 gallon at 50 Ghana cedis. There's no 2 ways about it. That 2 billion in conclusion, 2 billion almost on Mepompi per month. If it is true, this is not a measure that has not been tried by any other government. All the government from Rollins, Kofor, Mills, Mahama, up to date, they tried it. It has never worked for us. because the scavengers of the economy, they are still around. So the moment I already said 2 billion, they're going to telcos, they will still repatriate their profit. I was expecting to talk about, what I say, tax exemptions. I know so you himself, if you use it, the documents, any figures, or I am last year, and can rake in 25 billion Ghana cedis, plus the CPC ban, which is still at the back. So to me, Ghana cocoa no crop into cake, a $20 billion Ghana cedis. So these are the areas we have to.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eric Asani Tano, LPG National Organizer, and Oten and Kano. Abiola.
I mean, that's Sibibri, and my friends here in more Ghana man penny, Adoda AKWAFO. Maybe we are missing a couple of morning. Minchia Nabedi, Mahmoud. LPG. Yeah, check out. It's quite a say, no, we were. Then you talk about here, and I'm coming to superior Kakra has the iframes, and I had to tell them, saying, I'm fair man. Now, I'm so. Document not the buyer. Let me so unclear the source of the document.
And you were right.
Now, come to Pasa. Me only me say me best do na me basa. Yes. Mami.
Yes dear.
Dedi ka mami fast da kese. Asa me fa kese ma na ban. Kese si. People say adentin. Asem ni say ye nyina ye jetum. Edin wo. Ghana challenge. We are seeing top economy, aging economy. Only na ewa hunye ayewu aye eni. Na ye kan impenia ini se ode akwem. Kwama said to soon akwem. Oma and to or how bad don't pay the we see. That is leadership. But to direct, okay, that is obvious. Yeah, I mean, you know, with it. 43 veterans. There's a portrait and it could or two. Let the menu as an kind or refer to time. Ghana, Ghana as in the station. The media dancers on my penrest. Can say, and we move position. How do you do? That's always be if you do. I won't fast one a dozen. Finish Babu Benya in Yumaye. The visitor to me, Abua, how many Bob Pesu Krum, urbanization, Ebeba. The form of this organization, maybe I will be an also wedding. Also, no Yakakra. Then Yanka Sans Yabatoya Honia. Evan is I know as a kind of command and petty. Dance and the old crano with me and your home here. Ghana man. In the idea dancing. Politics, then you be so. Yeah, cassette here. Did you say, Nipa be brave? I won't hear, and that's on G. Technology of who send an ado. Papa fat. Eddie Papa Ghana food. Not on the argument, no credit. Our mem had me. You might be brave. Eko ye ni mu ano. Eko duru baabi a ye nna no. Eni wiase nyina ye nna ni se. Edi o how kese e ba ya. Amama bebre, they didn't even expect it. Budgeted expense e ba mu. Amen. Bebre no Ghana man pani ano sa. Asem bia obekasa bia, bre obenya dom, bre obekasa bia. Ono de so ye nipa yi, oni tumi obetimi di kankwa beba. Nemo otumi anaso wa anaso dia obetimi di collapse na. That tells you say that onim say eniyama na yedi kom abo nipa ho man say atorenche birim eye ka ebeda ho no mo be ye ka wi a pani die na odin na on ben na obi e ka den na betimi afrim. That is where we are. The real man na e cover from post a challenge. Ghana man odin he has been sincere enough to accept challenge. And no one and penny. If you're okay, Ghana for the family the year now, you come, you bet me a day. You know, first second, I didn't want to dear. And she said, bet me about any many. You have to monitor it and see work well or not. And you know, the possibility and dynamism in some of these things are high. The who now quite so push and I'm a boy. And your position that's a be able to say, let's find solutions challenges that. And the challenge is next. And yet idea then and that's on mind and you create here. A idea a better what you say, or how to be a honor more internally no leadership and I'm penny didn't wait to meet it or how no. Ebini emra yeko mu omre mu no eye ohawa empanidie na nkasa ekreti e be ya to renche ma Ghana. That one was peculiar to Ghana, limited to Ghana. Ebe ye one of the national security threats this country abediatum. In this case one no. Then your case ohawa ba ohaw na eba ye no enye ohawa eme ye ehye na eme eba ye nemu eye ohawa abeto ye sa atrenchem. Until there's the need for that Yakupon empire boy. And then I did to say, fire fast so a main fast on the Ghana for managing COVID. Why my the see what a man may be soon. And to me, and Nusa or Ghana. Baby, correct me because you knew a year, we are born in Yamaniama, and Yame, and she sent the food to Aquam. Yeah, my baby, I do know. Okafuela.
Ghana and watching
US, almighty US,
everywhere. Zimbabwe,
Germany. That's Zimbabwe. Don't say. If I say we are the developing economy, I'm talking about the developed economy. Now, even the emerging ones, the poor and those people the middle income. If I say economy down the end better. One craft as here, they say. Getting a member here. Me family and Ben, you're in future here. Nigeria is one of the largest producers of oil. Oh my Ghana phobia. People can say the prices in Nigeria is even higher than our own.
They can't even get some to buy.
There's a shortage. It's what I was saying. Nigeria and Ghana. When the world refineries Ghana.
Nigeria will be.
I didn't know the world refineries and then Puno. Also, on what's on now all refineries won't be into. Somewhere 2015, 2014. Energy crisis can by. What you say? That even within that time, no crana petrol war cost. Hey, you been told. Cars are like who could do 37 and impact them one. Cars is Mr. Laya, not a blocky road, you know, at that time. Time they were more a global crisis in Sudan and from not done. Let me manage the situation. Say, you know, one shortage. But Nigeria could produce oil, you know. So what me and your shortage do one more. Yes, I would say, oh, my penny about home or the empire.
I say, Ghana, you can't Ghana some.
Ghana the na ye ka no. But the first you can only compare when you have more than one. Anameboa. So dua there say do better be ho. Yes, me to me say yes, Ghana we have a refinery, refinery the product na yenya no. Dem say the quantity ni simple.
Na diempo den ne si enkwan.
Say ye be ho.
Ye de ye nsa kwahye apam biase a enu ti na agrepo yen a because yen ne ye de yen oil. Me ba o enje. Yen ne ye de yen oil e na mo ba bitu. First yen to oil, say ne ye kra oil. Every amano ne eba be na ne e wo ye refinery. Enti die ne si enkwan se oil de etu ha no. Yen fa nkonkonko na.
Ami. Na me de adom president Anna first time na me boa. And so president ko fourth minute so no. Dem first here entufa. The late president he says
John Evans Atamel.
Doshin and Amemwa. From Nimre Swabesi President Ama, he was asked why when cancer refinery no annual and yet every year and now Dubai Abemu and the first 4 years no Wababe Sia or how so serious in
first 4 years will be how ben.
And then by COVID
late 2019.
Late 2019, it wasn't within the 4 years mandate. Oh. Obia take you over office from 2017. Not 2019. No, how about within 2 years?
Yeah, 2020 na buy because it was in December 2019. And every year cry this the first 2 people no. It was in 2020. But you have already chopped 3 years.
Now, what now
1 year, no, so not definitely election year.
It was still within the mandate. And I'm government policies. Obet me you 6 months. I maybe a walk around. So bit me also 4 years. Not me never be. I think say every 6 months, every 3 months, every 2 months, the government bit me. I dear be a bro what we don't tell and say why a boardroom. And I say a preparation in that to what the anameboa. Intimate was I say. From 2009, 7th January, our NDC are take you over governance of this country. Basically 2016, now one started say you produce oil no or mem hanum no. Say anka, February NDC to me who say, associate a team refining oil no ha no year who adwuma. I don't think say na na do beba say.
Oba no so ba beto.
Oba be expand anameboa. That's exactly what supposed to have been done.
But Oba and I say be anko ye meba ya womo anye ne sa. What prevents you from
what so say the government
so that the other person who will come also come and continue?
No, Mami BIAMAH.
Me papa me tell pa.
You know we are doing. Ako.
Who say meba o? They all the fato ho a wo tutu no. Omo ama me ye ne yie nti na Ghana for se yempemo nko na omo betimi aye no emra. Why do you always compare or no wrongs no with your own lapses and committing the same wrongs?
Oba abemu a government won policies and a wash share edi kind to.
At the end of the day, policies no a year towards him for Ghana.
And yes, then the sector of the economy is big. And you can't do all at the same time. Anameboa. And the advances say, was by no chance, who said educational sector no. The challenges at the educational sector are too huge. It may address no.
Okay.
Okay. That is the implementation of free SHS. One sector. But where we do so.
Adote. Oh, letter. I made a mouth query.
Oh no, 8 years no. When to me, I'm building refinery. Obi by in 4 years, 5 years, money. Who expecting a oil refinery? So we na me what and come in casa comedy. When was yes. The person be catch us. Oba abambia want to share anybody on the priorities. One kakra. What you say? If you want to know, who say as I say industrialization so ebaso. Said the Baya locally, betting me here. The buying science for one district, one factory. We are aware, say it's ongoing. Yeah, who's agriculture, agri sector, no, the growth one of the major growth in this country. Ghana 40 minutes home common here. We can't visit 19 or whatever it is. And I'm a war. Into no sign here say, and also make me a employment. Into was then hunting for food. At me I do. Who knows that maybe into 2019 government has a policy to ensure say our energy sector and also they let me a reform by even creating a refinery which they couldn't, and were faced and slapped with global pandemic. And so obviously if you have that much plan, you can do it. As I saw suspend the name of Bibri. Now we have Ghana for you bet me about home by basa ember. In the midst of solving this problem, a whole lot of things were cut down. What you say? Get ready one dance. And what Anna ever do baby where the discussion started and after the telling effect any Ghana and until you do baby as I said revival. And that is exactly what the government is doing now. What you say? And now me fato who say yes, refining is good, no. Let me catch you say, on my own my and fuel, on free and fuel. One was so many refineries, and then me no can say gas to something when Nigeria help fuel at all. One year been to, the young woman on the free and poor Ghana Hannah, yeah, refinery. Who offer every filling station beyond you will not meet more than 3 cars there. And you can see how the government is concerned and what managing the economy. No, the Yanum Reswa, Anna, not on this work, because I'm maybe you moving look at. I won't be able to say because yet to a mem Hanum, Anna, you do and you hear Brimno. And this in Penfold catcher and say, and 2 wall and 5 Ghana home into one watching, put me free Ghana. Want to make a try and say, so also for one who never been to another boy idea, like a car on a bicycle.
Thank you very much, Mr. Entry Abiola,
Entry,
NPP Communications team member, and Oten and Ghana. I don't say, Akwaba. Yo, Mr. Medasi. Last week, one man notice one for application, I must say, will be absent.
Like I made last week. You get
Adias.
I'm if I could win chia is in pain. Chia Machia and this in pain. Yeah.
Na more da ben na more start
very soon.
Elections.
Yeah, now if a database from the previous membership, issuing
effect.
From it will be come into the album niba say you are a duly registered and use payment member. The right to vote electoral area election. Eric this
okay.
Now, see, doom so ebai. Me ebai. Now, I see a idea campaign for that is NDC. Then I go for buy all these things, Emboa. She said, I'm gonna for a back and who can't crap now? Can't throw so. I'm going to do so every bully. And I bokina. I don't understand what this is. It is successive government almost fairly said they will plan into your consumption level no went beyond production level. At first, your capacity was 2,800 megawatts. Around my every that 2,800 megawatts, no, Edico almost 5,000. Who buy and say no, move for 1 megawatt encounter. Not even a single megawatt from your time. Oh, but around my fire at the end to 5,000. They say we even have excess. They be a mukan was excess. And even the excess, no, sebi. The moon say na you governing on power. You can even export the excess to other countries. What do you mean yet? What you say? And then BIAMAH comes doing so. Man, this solve it, doing so, answer na oko. Into okay, say posterity will judge me. And then I mean, last year, I'm Jerry. I told you say Otrebia, Otenemu, Emma. Maka was say, yeah, Maka de Bia was say, Mammy. The country is broke. Maka is several times. Maka say, MPP for Omudi and they are confused. I've been saying it. And it's clear. And then before today, last year, somewhere October, November, Mika said the country is broke. And we'll get to this point. Because all the financial, we are HSA, we'll get to this point. Now, near here, about MPP government say, hey, Mommy, we are in a hospital. Diagnose. Diagnose all you know, or the intro. Maybe a malaria, or say a high fever, or changing all the symptoms, you know. A band is a doctor, no on to mean treaty a year. That is what is happening with the MPP government. You can almost say global effect. Global what? Global
effect COVID
Mommy.
And as I say, Russia for instance, some my home to Ukraine.
Russia and UK in same no.
Because MI understand now oil is stable.
No. I mean, last year go to increase fuel prices more than 15 times in this country last year. Now UK in Russia. I mean,
but so what price and now
increase at what rate? At a slower rate. But we increase fuel price your country. Me bo na mami. Unti chrome wana trot say and no mu yejuma. Ah mu bo cry what lorry station me bo. That na Russia and Ukraine amuku. These are all lies. Unti me see ade na. What is one nyina e bo kese no. It's not about Russia Ukraine, it's not about global. Mami ka show COVID-19 e bo aban we pa o. Omo fa COVID-19 e bi esika no. Esika no for elections. COVID-19 ba no. That is what gave the stability to the city. Because the international trade echo down. I say, you find the East Asia and China. About 33% of our import is from that side. COVID-19 by na container now you're shutting down trade. So we didn't import. And then man said in so if you check 2020, no, the depreciation was very low. The COVID-19 bomb, the same COVID-19, when you have 14 billion gap drop in your revenue. Mommy. But Omuko Jessica to the tune of 32 billion. More than Nia Wushiri Yenu. So you can't use COVID-19 as an issue at all. Yes, Fango area. It's largely the depreciation of the Ghana city. It has nothing to do with the world crude price. Crude price is stable. 2-3 weeks are jumping. It's still around $113. You can check it. And go through it. Now, last window, the friend said the increment bar for the fuel. No. I'm paying for the city depreciation. You can see it. Now, I mean, you see the whole day from the Ukraine, Russia. How? I mean, no, I want you to answer me. Which financial analyst will tell me, say, you see the IBA from no, Ukraine, Russia? How? Show me the connection. Any proper economist, and I say financial analyst, can never make that assertion. Say, no. You see, can buy for more. You see, fuel how? No, let me tell you. There are 4 elements I control. Number 1, importation. What's the more 1D, 1F? What is the impact in the economy? 0. The Gusua cranium ediba. And I want to say last quarter of every year and first quarter of the new year. That is when we pay for importation. Me buana. The cranium for Christmas. Buana. We are not here. Chinese holiday no. Started time there. You see, let's stop the lies. Importation is number 2. Time I will buy no. Utu nonti. Who change your loan portfolio say who pay non-resident Ghanaian investors. Just say Crawford mu money mudi dollars eba omu to your bonds in Ghana cedis. Omu say nansen we say some enkoye. So you don't have proper means of what making revenue. Nti omu nyina eyo musika edi ko. That is a non-resident in Crawford omu to your bond. And when they are taking the money away, no, almost into dollars, and they go back to omu country. So number 2, that's another pressure. These are the things. Number 3, we have multinational companies, this MTN, Hello, Cosmos, and so on. Financial year ends in February and March. Now, any profits Ghana see this more. Obviously, sent to dollars. Honestly, or they call. That is the reason. That is the reason. No, mommy.
We will start some time.
Mommy, you can't ask me question. Because can you go?
Yes, see. Obia ni we ase wa bon. Obia obi be so good. But e bi so mo buy, o ma ye bibi kakra.
Mami. O ma bon more than baller.
Oh, no, it's too strong a word.
Who be said? Who be said? Time, mami. What's your time? MTN. What's going on with Joanna? Only say TMU. Only MTN. Tikanu. Madia. You have me. Because in the high end, you must see a different. Okay. Have meeting with them.
Baby and Kamomo fall short.
And that's your bon too long. That's why I hire. Have meeting with them to stagger the.
But maybe they were not smart.
Mommy, no.
Young cancer.
You're smart.
Oh,
very simple. Who the crowd carry a West Cram, mommy? Who the
measurement frack?
Who's your smarter? Any serious class of my bomb. Mommy, in the Saturday and this party. Multinational. My financial year ends in February, March. In Jamaica, you know, echo in dollars. Until my dear. You have meeting with them. And Franco, I feel so. Somewhere the policy rate of 4.5. They are wrong because at that time, no, finance on a 2-year bond. The banker go from bond 1%. Anything. Can I say, central government has raised the policy up to the neck, as an already. Say, program for the year. Now, echo, move all their funds back to America, and so now you are in policy rate. Come on here, mommy. The things are higher. You can't see. Don't buy effect COVID-19. Now, I told you. 0.4. Can you imagine? Any 3.1. Every course at time, Canado, as candidate. Every course 3.4. Wow. So it's not about global effect. It's about hey, about Argentina. Truth. They can't talk. But these are the things. Now, we are doctor. Use the right tool to use the right. Give the right symptoms. The only way you can solve the problem. For 5 years. And then the effect. They can also Russia, Ukraine. How can Russia, Ukraine let your on their ever from? How? What's the connection? I can see it. Even if anything, yeah, price of oil. There are 4 elements. I control your price. It's air back. They are only air back. Margins from cost bidding on air back. Now, when you know a person, I know you don't have. We see the amount in so control. That's not your control. And then that means I say, why you 15 pesos? Very free if anything. Margins, don't you have control over the margins? Because cost margins, you can't use it. And mommy, also know it is competent management of the company. And no there can afford a way. Okay, so can say 1 million constituency. And that's kind of way for.
How many projects?
Projects, no.
Markets, toilet facilities,
excellent,
and other things.
when the report echo parliament, report of the now also $1 million that's $200 times 4. Can you imagine?
Can away.
The things when we intro just lie, say something, and we power. And if you and up to now, I gonna for every no fuel. Into your rent. Every younger, every if I get friend crap, instead of you telling Ghanaians what to do to change the economy, no, still now you are blaming it on about what in no, you can see the things. Then about Musican airco. They say Ukraine and Russia. How? Essentially, Ghana go be don't understand finance in then can't run na film. Who's the then they go back to 2014, 2015. Now, yes, I lie and man of fuel. Can you imagine? Oh, Ghana for it to Obama. Essentially, we see Obi to me now. Then say then every time you have to go back. They come about Thor into me and refining your crude instead of my. Oh, they say this, and this is about 8 years. Imagine, and listen to me. Your programs plans for your sector, the next account, and you go back and talk about your lose election. Look, they don't have anything. I say, time my year, I say, Obi Senate say, yeah, and air can end the economy. Current tip, the same thing. The same thing. Sorry, no, quote Jeremiah. First, no, Isaiah, and say, I'm moving from Isaiah to Jeremiah. Can you imagine?
No.
You see, they're just joking Ghanaians. Let's say something. It's very bad. We can't pay our tax to you and you behave this way. That's very bad.
Yo, Mr. Meda Sipi Emmanuel Adote Alote na Oten and Kano. Na Andrew, who be become ever home?
I would say, you
just 3 minutes.
And this is for Kasa. Yeah, now on ref say on free abem as a Ghana for Pamon Sanko. Free abem sans management. On Kasa so be on my bem that's LPG input cancer and say, then German one. I say on the African person by bem. Now what better bem? The new also Diaka who said multilateral companies like MTN I don't know. On financial year no year March, yeah on Sikano on the court, the brass says see a to go. Now on the same brand they went me and who feel what we and yan to order.
I say what you to.
Maybe so no can. Forgotten say.
I say no course meba. I say and no na omo anye no. It cost them. It's not Ghana for to but it's in ka omo hwese nka mumbe sua bibia free no mo.
Tie. Onentia say amamu no. Enye mathematics.
Hey,
enye integrated science. Enye
subtraction and addition.
Enye RME.
Okay.
Enye subject na outro na utia. The amount of fear say for homework na fabra. Utia no wati. What you say? And this is wati. Don't nim ndie bia wo amamu ho.
Wow.
One trust now. Yeah. The ref he said, and Sunday will be baba on them by investment on them. They are lost. And I'm a boy. Into uncle to Emra a chairman says, so be by any druma. Not Otuan task. Pepper so Otua or Memhan, not Onya profit. Yes, sometimes no. We are talking to Ghanaians, and so because of politics to overcome someone.
Okay, no crime.
What you say? My bar mem has an investor.
Yeah.
And Randy said, "By Meduma, met you, I met to say the SM to Yan Pepe. Then maybe I know a chess some Yamin fast war. Then fast one in Yan and Mefanto or Memhanum.
But yet means a summer.
Yes, and that is a different angle you are coming from.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Now then, I'm 8 years, 1 to 9 years. There is no all can how.
Maybe someone, yeah, moment to me, yeah, money,
Mammy Biama. Yes, your mem had a man. And maybe you hold Mamma, me and Fanny say, if I lateral, so be a politician or what can you pay?
Okay.
Talk to the businessmen. What you say, they will tell you. what is involved.
Because at the end, I'm saying, who are children? So said the woman, and I would say, "Hon, so said
or can't say, "We are one mental, you are no kind of person can say." You have been in government for 8 years.
Okay.
8 years, what prevented them to change it? In any case, we are still within our second term. If there's the need, say a visa Akosua, and yet a bank one bet me say I'm doing this because it has to do with parliament and now what the way baby yet case say abano and kwa this is kind of metu and amadora no ekos. What yet me catch and say what is happening outside Ukraine and Russia, anything that affects them has nothing to do with Ghanaians. Now we know.
That's it.
And I
that's it.
Ukraine and Russia, no, this one has nothing to do with the global economy. Now we know work.
That's it. I was here for I share messages kakra ye dia ba na fe yankoyen animoi. We so ko da me fa a tablet no ebreme. Yevu birthday no say mami BIAMAH, please, is it old tape? No, it's a new one pa. Michael Kwabena and was say Pamucho, please, Mr. Moa. Michael Kwabena and was say Training Jonas TV, your uncle is here. Ofia Martinez, good afternoon, host Brian Adams from Asin Praso. NPP has the blueprint to help salvage the economic downturn. Dr. Uswefria Koto will manage our economy better with innovative ideas to generate more revenue. Also, the problem, Mr. Adote. Also, Edward for UK. The problem in Ghana is not just the mass corruption we have other challenges like taking responsibilities and poor accountability, which affect the prospects of our country. We all have collective responsibilities to help build our nation. If these factors are not taken into consideration, no competent government can take Ghana to the promised land. Martin Atipo, NYC, good afternoon, Ma'am. Major Super Martin. Odro Gomwa the Rampon. Honorable Keroferiata to cancel the entrepreneurship program. Why? Because Ghanaians will not allow you to steal their memo money. Greetings to Richard Jan Mensa Gomwa West MP. Nana Obrempo Mensa GB. And also Honorable Kenoforiata. Afei Inshaba Anelka. Ghanaians should never think of replacing the good governance of NPP with bad governance of NDC. NPP party is the only choice left to transform Ghana to the promised land. So JM and the NDC should spare our ears with their fake lies and enjoy opposition for another years. Musa Abatwa and Wadiweya, but when we called on Akufo-Addo to cut down the waste by reducing bloated size of his government, we were told by the hypocrites that the end justifies the means. Now the same people are asking him to reduce the size of government. Where in the world 104 ministers and 989 presidential staffers working as government machinery? God being so good, those hypocrites are waking up from their slumber. Greetings to lawyer Evans Amankwa, Bright and Chroma, and was a thanks to the LPG organizer for his words. But because of the politicians' selfish interest, they will never do what will help us at all. Richmond Amo and what the way by no Mami BIAMAH bro for they ask the MPP communicator man. Hey, Adote. Mami BIAMAH bro for they ask the MPP communicator man that why do they always want to put square pegs in a round hole? Asking why can't the president do a reshuffle and all appointees are comfortable doing what they like. Mystic wonder. Inside and so on, regional Ghana is in this unprecedented economic crisis due to mismanagement, duplication of appointments, intransigence of the government, extravagant expenditures, nepotism, corruption, and reckless borrowing. To whom much is given, much is expected. Ojunto Hammer. Why is it that all the MPP communicators talks as but see amweni fita as amanka say and on also do we are ban us mami good afternoon. I know NDC leaders will start their propaganda tomorrow, but we don't care because we have seen good things in President Akufo-Addo. Regards to Honorable John Buedu and Protozua and positive change headway from Medina and not say Baumia's textbooks economics in the management of the exchange rate has had a devastating effect on our public debt, even without further borrowing. The depreciation of the cedi alone has added about 25 billion Ghana cedis to our public debt since January this year. Oh, positive change, Madina. Ejabata. NOC Agenda 111 will be exactly 2 years on 26th of April 2022. It was expected to be completed within 18 months, but not a single brick has been laid. You have cancelled road tolls and you are crying for money. This MPP government is insensitive. Jabata, we if free to whom Oti and Ode a buy. Mr. Joe Adamiado, tablet on a breme. Afeyantua and Comoso. Yes. Mr. Tano Major Brem. Yeah.
I don't know
today why?
It's
who the shame, Anna. Who the shame? Mr. Tano Major. That's right. O kana sa ya me man kan wrong ko.
Make so don't worry.
Okay.
Wa fa wi. Anake. Aso
Asante achim south.
Enim so be fa.
First vice. On country me. Nana ke mpacho utie mi a. Utie mi mpacho ma me high. Also on first vice.
Don't worry. But Anake me bag you so next week. Your baby deal.
But offense Mahama Godwin Mahama also called one of the
Greater Accra.
Okay. And na MAAME chairman Goka Ashanti Koka Mimi Oda Koka Ashanti regional chairman incoming ono so the modern ho kwaku apia
them na for win. Okay.
Na won kasa na what wa bana kasa na what dey aso wudi yeah promote go for
how the buy is the finest
secretary Ablekuma Central
Yes.
And when I was over Ablekuma Central now why are you vying for? Why are you going to vie for? Okay, buy.
2016 I'm a constituency organizer.
Oh, okay.
MP.
Okay.
In 2016.
Okay.
But I want me and Yajumana. And I was Sunday and co opposite.
Most had an abba.
And to me, Baby Mo assess Uncle for one said Manu. And to answer me, some brother may many
secretary.
And to me, organizer, be a secretary.
No abosso.
I'm Masona. Yard to me number. I just say,
See, oh man. This year. Before you are say, and that's the minister. The investment we hear from. That's what Obama is.
How are you know, Mr. Tano? How are you know? How do you know,
evidence?
Because
this is a very big platform. And to offer proof that what mean can a lateral uncle? And then ask me no akasakasa. Allegation we are now. You have to give evidence of proof.
Evidence.
Only investment.
And your man.
Well, yeah, can't tell because first enterprise insurance needs for only investments were wanting. Don't they have reserves outside?
There's so many companies. Foreign companies. Foreign companies. But this is a finance minister of Ghana.
Yes.
And he's a Ghanaian.
As a person, I'm talking as a business. No, I'm not. The business is over. Everybody who has a business entity.
But business need be or they call or the investment thousand.
So as enterprise, money reserve. And how would you?
Evidence of proof say what the investment outside. What the metronom and canelateral allegations no on more. I saw Magana for
Abiola. I commanded the way. But what was Mr. Tano? Mr. Tano to us in a Nemumi and saying, my country quite to us. So 1 year allegation be now. My allegation are we, me person my proof. So enterprise insurance now can say, yeah, the court, but see, I'll be able to say, Omuni reserve one. Definitely they will have reserve. No, you should definitely they will have reserve. How definitely it is. But what was yes. So what? Papa. Mr. Tano. Mr. Tano, yango.
The normal I want to know you. Ya can't moyo. 28 September. This my memory. Nigeria, sister make us about 5. Almost first was in. Almost shared the Ghana here. And almost
now yeah, the idea
was to sank verify that country in Africa. And indeed, it was to refine for a key. And I'm saying, say, a man for our mafia man on the prospect or your other minerals. It is the very main issue at in terms of our any yes, say all agreements are sign or mining. One can say mineral resources holding 98%. I say emphasis 97%. Then one trust you. You're making sure say at least 40% of it will come. Yeah, no free one, and it's not just one mineral.
All the mineral resources. How do they enter into those agreements?
You understand? Newmont.
Memorandum of understanding. We are refusing to read to understand.
Yes.
We have big great lawyers here. What is wrong with that?
By force. Then no money ever trust. And selfish and greed. And anyway, say you be man, you be panic cry. Nti tell mom, new month na be no buy. New month wo buy yen na ehu. New month how old are they? About 10 years or 15 years people into. And then new month one of the biggest mining companies. Sit down with them. Say, look, the mineral resource belongs to Ghana. That agreement now ya common. We don't want to contain that. You no better say. Just 40%. Now you insist there will go your dam or your boxer, you be finding lithium. Now lithium crop on the common. Lithium no, it is estimated at $150 billion. $150 billion. No, what do you check? Again, the same principles. No, I can say, I say the $50 billion. I be collateralizing now. Yeah, dual carriageway in first class road. I will memoha. Now I'm an accident to swati. Now I'm more managed economically. You made no buy fee other side of the no. What do you say? We are saying also say. Making sure say nyuma many jobs no when the be maximum for contract from 1 year anya hom faso this is scarcity mem here every small thing you give it to foreigners every small thing you give it to and no nyina ka ho na edi economic situation enya city no you can never blame our city on COVID or say your friend is saying Ukraine how many it's not even up to 2 months you understand but before say Ukraine to that the dollar has crossed 7 cities. You understand? You don't go there at all. And the finance minister still being in position. The problem that we have.
Okay, Meda Sipi. Nana me can be alote my memory also. I me can be say president finance minister can say presidency one more ekati one more pay so like 30% in SOEs. Fine. But now me concern be about you also know fat salaries. Aside that, almost I did per DMs and you going on. Then in the hot year, I said, ya kata hobisa na what bamucho because I stand to be corrected. Then the constitution ne ka efa saa ayi no ho. Eno nti na achechire yenti minya ho hwe. Ni anya flexible kakra because you see nyina ho chire yen. Eti ye tighten your belt. Everybody should tighten his oil. all sectors.
But the salaries can be likewise the benefits. Is something where
and yes, static is there. Give them this amount.
They be for me. So, but I don't know why but I understand you because rent free, per diem free, way free, no. Then what is the essence of as compared to salary 500 cedis?
Everything inside.
Everything inside. Matthias here. But the pay cut need all. Question is, I know how much are we saving? One can at least tell me, say, oh, you're cutting when you know, if saving 50 billion. And I know, can you know, 30 years, 20 years, and a poor coupon. It's nothing.
Even for coupon, how would you
yes,
know?
Yes, so are we going to have a committee? They will monitor to ensure, say, coupon, yeah, cutting, a bay juma, casa yenton, a bay juma. All those things will work, nothing. Waka, it will shock you, say, by December. Because total amount of cutting we don't know. Don't say budget last year 137 billion expenditure. Katia, let me know say 30 billion that money is being saved. I moved from 137 billion to 107 billion. We don't know. These are the things. I say they are confused and they don't know what they are about. What can they be? And every day be a show. The extent say, I want the from no. And then MVP say it's about Ukraine and Russia. I'm so about it, passionate. The National Reserve at Central Bank. And now commercial banks in the United States. I mean, say we a businesswoman. I say be a Ukrainian from China. I say we bank 100,000 from Brown. Bank be sending all those details to the central bank. Corresponding bank. Sorry, your account to the can't air out no only be air free. Only say dollar me reserve air cut down. It's say importation IGB. But nationals IGB. In Crawford, we get back Ghana to a bond into AGB. These are the areas. And they say no supply and a year week. And the demand was what very high. And now Omoka said they have to go and look for 2 billion.
That's 2 billion. It may make impact.
Yeah, the gap no.
Because maybe people are also saying they say it was a black market. So the moment they pump that money inside, they will come and then buy it again.
Say the formalized trade. To say commercial banks need other companies say dealing. To say even the MCs and the BDCs. Bank then demand no better form. About from a black market, you have no choice than to maintain your price. Don't be because BIAMAH. But they say no, even the OMCs no, when they go to the bank, they are forced to yes.
Wow.
And the thing is, demand and supply. No, I say watch you. They see 8 better. That's the things. And the gap is about 2 billion. And that 2 billion, every one they call you can't see Ukraine and Russia. How? The two efforts can Ukraine.
And a free government. Office.
These are the things. And how many parents say you don't conform who come see Ukraine and Russia and they say the home there conform. What kind of finance is this? It can't be every economy. Central Bank will report of everything. Because as a commercial bank, you want to be operating without sending your report to Central Bank for all your trade payments.
For mommy.
What you say? Mommy, in Crawford way or must say Ghana. Now you can't say, look, a Juma and this year, Mama boy, no. Me say me boy, I did best one this year. Nothing, not even a school. Once a school from scratch to finish. Clinic, nothing. But a Juma and this year, boy.
When you said this comparisons, we ain't Obi started project to be a for boss men to us.
Mommy, was started then. Okay, once you are Mama, started, you know, need to see need the ever heifer. Tell me, district, assembly area, lecture area, also school, ever heifer, clinic, ever heifer. Where were heifer?
Finance is said more interchange than any other government.
It's a lie. It's a big lie.
Ever heifer. Even add this to your
ever heifer. Mommy, most start to say, move here. If any say, that's why they PTC. Maryland, me boana.
O me we Pokwase.
Pokwase NDC J loan, November 2016. Ejum be that loan cry the come, I'm alone no. Kwasi, hey, sorry, Obejelam the same thing. Why you doing nothing? They say your debt is over 70 billion.
That's it.
Ejuma be anyone.
Thank you so much.
Pinpoint.
Alote. Bebacho
Mami
Abiola, yes.
You the bull. When facts and figures are even what you see.
Abiola.
Oh, I mean, more than another than Kwakufuado Abaso. Let's say leadership, by example. This is this young one. And person mean say 24 said the value of money, multiples of that money matters. A man who say or however, as I say, listen to no so how they are shas from say so an amount say maybe so they are there very important. Nancy to mem hanomo near was similar crisis and one internally generated crisis by leadership of NDC. Some dear IMF, Uncle G. Business or IMF, that'll be two double salaries, Emma on point. One of the two leaders I can was them. And now, yenya global crisis, and yeah, for the creative, you know. You see, then as leaders, no, ye tea and yaka to us, ye the etiso. Yenya another leader, no other creative crisis, you know. Or what G. Sikawa man on your buy and obey na appointees, the ministers, among double salaries. And Kasau Casablanca, I don't want to come.
Evidence. What is the evidence?
Mama evidence.
Tell me.
The current Speaker of Parliament. Listen to me here. Current Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Kingsford Osmani Babi. Osmani Babi, or GB. Admitting.
Watching your tears are double salary.
And no.
Who's what?
They don't want to do that.
When they went out of work, they were still paying them.
No, let me tell you. They were not paying them.
Was still paying them.
No, let me tell you. They were not paying them. I know who said they were paying them. And the Speaker of Parliament, that time he was a member of Parliament.
It's a lie.
Wait. Then, member of Parliament. There's no evidence. There are so many cases before the Speaker of Parliament, before the prosecutor that will be dealt with. What you say? Now, saying crime is about 45 cases. Mami BIAMAH. Me do me case ah. Me person me tell say. Yenya leader. Or how no. All solve the steps we are taking say or no found you no. And then year dey no what so. And yenya leader bi a ebre bi atwa mu a or how bi ba ye.
No one fast to hold on anya.
Now over there no what man oh my brother. Oh 10% my brother. Me I don't do that too. Me I don't go that way. When now time we are my kasa.
I don't let him talk. I don't allow him to talk.
The me can say. I'm BIAMAH. You cannot compare when you don't have more than one.
Okay.
You can only compare when you have more than one. It's your two leaders. In as another me the whole chair and say you know. If you can not this time, we'll be one member of Parliament. Answer na free. Maybe I don't know. I cost standing crowd best of all. Only first member of Parliament. Maybe I have 50 years to carry what me about Now what ya mem? Anna yenya two issues. Similar issues. One cry there, more na create here. And what do so what I want. Yeah.
No. See here creative.
And then create here.
Manyama penso na do so. No. Alote. Enye NDC apenso ene ti dum so.
But you create here na.
Yeah, fanas. I am
create here na. Create.
If you hear buy.
As a result of mismanagement, that would mean talk good lawyer.
That's what was.
Oh, Chrome Hanum, Nigeria for Katim. It's open secret. Somewhat animal. Until yet, me, I witness 4 years in darkness in this country. Me, Busau. One a create here. Someone will take power from President Kufona do so.
President Kufota, meba. President Kufo time. Na dum so buy. Emma so ano kakra. Meba. Answer down. Meba. Ekunko ho sa.
Mami BIAMAH.
Na Professor Mills.
Mami BIAMAH. Mami BIAMAH. What you say maintenance cut-off is different from where orchestrated mismanaged. Do so. And that's what NDC exactly did.
Is that what you say?
Oh,
yes.
No.
Is that what you think?
Yes, the end is in
it was a well calculated for Ghanaians to suffer for 4 good years.
But they have no good heart.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, Yabiola. Men come to know. And to only do so by, you know. Oh, yeah, you know, see Ghana was crisis. It's one offer energy, power, one the other. And on course, on Kwaji Bessia. On Kwaji Bessia and buy, you know. A 7 years, but it's a crisis in the combating. I got to so. On don't call it Bessia.
That's one minister to be attended.
Double salaries the amount. I want you to establish that. It's a fact. What you are saying? Ain't it, baby? Because I know. Yes, not the other day. Who's that on the other day? Me say. I am quoting
double salary.
I am quoting somebody not like me. A current speaker of parliament. I'm not then member of parliament. So, you're beneficiary of that double salary.
In parliament.
Yes, he admitted. Opa records oh baby. Yes. So GB. Compared to the current situation, find a good manager of the economy. MPP. And I'm coming to honest with you. NDC one bar ben. One went to me and maybe baby Ghana.
Okay.
What you say? Then you bar ben. Say you need BIAMAH or you need BIAMAH. Waka.
Wrap up because of time.
Yes.
Let's see for Mama and Matthew for Nujina.
What you say? One district, one factory is on course. What you say? Said the finance minister said we're building
more interchange.
That onions and you know, Krana.
Me the focus on me.
Me was said Tamale the one here. And I said I know bitch be lamte so one here. Oh. Me was out. Na make am you was say. Tama. Obiche be lamte. Kofu ase NDC Tamale dia won ye ni takrade de na o kan bomu a what you say
8 ana
cost 280 million pa akopa adom Dramani Mahama ye wo circle na sen wiem no cost 260 million dollars
awie
intibusan say anwea ni cement na on the year circle de no mock and on the ho ya na
that's it. Abiola medasipi se obaye beba
wo sane asai mo hwe ni highway o mo hwe ni
asai no bubu
yi ade na nane ba
okay acho adote wrap it up mame quick 1 minute
yo mame o say o ba bem na say ujilo bebre na say onya afie no obi adwuma wabɔ no ogi e de twantro kwasi MPP omo no mu hwe NDC obecha bi MDC report ni na ema 2000 egi sika ni na e wo answered wo in almost 30 or Tamaleno, a Gusao, PTC. Danny, a friend is saying, Kusi, joint. What? A friend is saying, oh, Munyafi.
Okay.
That is ever infant. Munyafi. Now, Gana Fosika.
Men so me da sepa, Mr. Tano. Afi, oni nyina to fam. Wenum de me jaw mo mbeko. Wudi oyo te as vonti na me do we last no.
Anopa na ya me ntoko ne ba.
Ah, okay.
Yo, a man can for camp. Just say. Bien
And then a man can for camping.
Some more on Dr. Baumia. Say, my bomb, some money say. 2020. I'm telling you, 2020 election. Thank Electoral Commission. Anko this result. I'm a young Jim Nkrofonsa. I'm a NPPS. I'm maybe ma. Anke beya Ghana. Anke to me trauma. And another no go so here. And I'm obey and I call basa. Look, as we speak, me. Constitution, yeah. In 10. Now, yes, the son. Emma or in fact, we are president. Run as many times as you want. Now, can the next 2024 election? Yes, the election and I do no central. Now, your own good animals, any party, no. What the party senate or want to mean? And I come on, say, I don't go for or buy, you know. Well, Mamma Sagan and party, NPP party, we are campaigning, say, because the family and friends, no, too much. We are saying, son, another don't go for the more we cash, na you, and as he counts, you know, as he say, oh, my muhaya, and Mamma Kosha Bonte, some Copescaba, Moncasa Moya Bosia, because it's kind of more. The money is with them, and so you release some of the monies into the system. They are found a more man home, I said, yeah, Bobosia. And I see you release $2 billion. $2 billion. You have the best of the Biako. Telcos need Bako, Talo the Bako. Another one Casancasanso, almost 1% the Biako. You understand? So we are saying, sir, this governor is the most wicked ever in the history of this. And that will go down in the memory of this country as Obia or de Anode, a Beji or Maine, not what was said, passa. I am who be that. And I want to pray, sir, NPP and another party. Within these 3 years, I see a soldier war more seriously. Yeah, more crap. Nobody should be have sympathy on another and in the government because more by so more no.
Meda se busuafo Mr. Yao Asanita no na Oten kan LPG National Organizer Lawrence Kwesi Entry Abiola NPP Communications Team Member na Emmanuel Adote Alote NDC Communications Team Member Wanda Roman na ombeboa mi sinkonwa epensen ensema hodo a ebeboa oh my Ghana ene sabredi yesremo mumie phone lines no entum 0302243540 0302257902 Namosomo from adventure emra ye kwa no ye 1 minute ubana betia 1 minute ya eno ano no. Hello
Mami Gada.
Good afternoon Pacho dini baby afrefi
When do you want to finish?
Yetio
Mbe jewa fi tia Dr. Baumia Fiscal papa odinu kwa tia JFK ncha Mami Gada bladano ubisa NDC ni asembi want to make you and who be fancy. There, almost 2 months here, I'm about 10 now. Want to encourage you. As someone can say, or the top with never. Former president, Mama, don't have Ghana force to know, or cut it on a jet through. Now, I couldn't pay. I did get here. I don't want to find this or fashion state. The quote to cry the camel to cry on fair. I do so by. I'll cut a young trouble day.
Medase pe. Hello. Good afternoon, Pacho dini baby afrefi.
What Mr. Kote to
Yo, Mr. Kote yetio.
Yo, Medase. Asa me kosmetia ma me honorable Emmanuel Alote Adote. The honor this 2020 election or anaso too. Honorable Menaboro. Finance Minister, me so back can me phobia wo. I say buying crackers. Who can say the road cars no.
Omba da mo sa amu kaka foforo. Ibo to ka san so amu kaka foforo. As the ministers amu to kwa abroad. But that say we o da. Asa sha. Na do u ko to awo Ghana ha. Wo ko gba kwa to the take one lakh kusa 4x4 lakh kusa. E do kwa ka e ko gba ba ko. O di tu. You say na do you be if say what it do the opposite.
Medasipi. Hello. Good afternoon, Pacho. Dini baby Afrefi.
Afternoon. Okay, afwan.
Yo,
Pacho iPhone na mitu ati wa.
Evo wezo, yango.
Wezo. Mami BIAMAH mami ntia lawyer Turbo ukunkom baby owo bi abichia. Mami BIAMAH sa papa no na wodi ni tinasi wo ho no se okasa last one. Your friend say bibi
Mr. Asanita no.
Mini oya na di say ye kasa na no ati de one. Utena yetna ha person kasa ma ndisi aka ni na hu so ya ndisi ni aja de otire because Mami BIAMAH abi ntina bi kasa yetna ha COVID mayo NDC di atransi wo do some 4 years na the NDC na yetransi na fo ya hu NDC da ne NDC fu asanta no manu mo yo manu to say sugar ebe transi ebe calcium kese ye kan ye nto apama mu yetra ha musu mo bie sugar factory wa yifa ye wa ha sika mo ti ye say ibola
let us say efo odi no hello good afternoon
afternoon
me ba jodi ni baby Afrefi
me pacho mi din dia litaliba mi frefi ablikuma my here ba joy
it's you
manya ofidie kese die mami fantia the 8th breaker Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Baumia ene ye papa Justin Kudia ukunkum ene ablikuma of questions vina wow NDC for the say no entro ena omufi se beboa omu ena sikani na ewo MPP ponsa omu yi sikani na fambra seni always here catch NDC for yembra issue to issue but someone you imagine say mu be di intro agu MPP for emwamu because asema abai is a global won temi you film adia abotiru ko amu amu anyway enti mama yanka the right in answer
Medasipi hello good afternoon udini baby Afrefi yo nana it's you
Mambe mamenye ofidike di mami dikamen ko kwapia enkame asante regional chairman na men said the penelu get from yes when the battle be begin at the ambiama o ma what is the to the light of war da no man pani so na de go go person the light of e ho mo yen yen say light to be a do light but o man pani that light on dramani mama person be e do so and die e dey dem here to do so every day light up every day do so light ba pre so o man pani na ma do ko for na be so mo sa for minima yen and then o man pani na ma do ko for da fe o man pani ko so mi ko sia it's say o listening government so the say we attack to o ma papa no what so
me da say on so far there ko hello yanko yeti o udi ni baby Afrefi
me pacho what is it
from
dia ni Mr. Nokure asan me ka se free kaso baby MP container no ho pe na mitina mame nche ona bu sample for na pim ana iti regional youth organizer ana me chama si sweatare yo wo bia nyame kan ho ana jo ashama obapa the finance minister sanko wanko parliament kan fa so wo so e denti no oba me kasa because man ya say wo adwie yesika se madi amanasa mi bisa oba me pacho o man panina na kufado na konya watena so no ye dia to care mu afuel no tank ma aso air condition asiso na driver team then dia kwanya ba o mai emfa so be ba no mai Ghana fo nya film
eda se on so wo de enono ha ena yede mu nyina mu besie Abusia for dwumadie na ha ena yede ebesie na motentin bia ko wi aboboa no Asadaka Siankoma, Obibiara, Onya, quite free, wow, the message about Yet was a pass, so Jibre etie. Asadaka Sia and call MOBBia. Wow, you so credit the fray, wow, you so data at the share live on so yet was CP. That brady Asada and Coma production crew. Dr. Father Dixon now with ye from afar. Joe Damia Drumak Jeros, my friend, my bankron, and Nana Yaosafo. Wadan Roman and you may ombo Michidom Elfiduemo. Midi at the MAAME BIAMAH AKWAFO. I'll bet me a friend BIAMAH one. Me sorry, so La Michael Ebe Jedra, no agent at the AKWAFO. Adamu nyina se amamamo any